Welcome back to another episode of the Next Level Minds podcast. My name is Chris Chapman, and I am your host. If this is your first time tuning in, and this is a podcast dedicated to those who want to reach a next level in their faith, family, fitness, finances, and embrace the American freedoms that we have in this great country. And really our goal here is to impact over 1 million people. So if you have not done this already, please take the time to subscribe to Next Level Minds on Apple Podcast. Share this episode with a family member, friend, or a colleague. And if you're really feeling special, leave a review of Next Level Minds and let me know what you think. Also, with this podcast, we interview various guests, but lately I have been heavily involved in doing solo episodes. So today is another solo episode, really on the topic of time management. And I wanted to talk about this topic because I have a lot going on in my life, and I'm sure there's people listening that have much more going on in their life than I do. However, I will say I have probably more going on than most average people, and that's because I work in a very busy corporate sales job, managing a very large book of business where I'm in charge of renewing and growing that fairly sizable book of business. I run my own podcast, Next Level Minds, of course, which we're talking about today. And then recently, if you guys have been listening for the last, 5 months kind of time frame, we have a 5-month-old at the time of this recording. And for those of you who are parents, being a parent is extremely busy. In addition to that, I try to spend some time volunteering. And then, of course, you guys know that I'm very involved in health. So, of course, working out, 6-7 days a week, as well as just keeping up with family life, which is a big focus area, not only for this podcast, but myself as well. Faith and family are two very important focus areas and priorities for my life. And then having a social life as well. And I wanted to talk about time management, how I manage it all. And I think this could be helpful for you all as well. So, really just wanted to go through a couple top of mind tips. For those of you, again, who have been listening, I don't really write any notes for these. I just start talking and have a goal to add as much value as I possibly can. So that's kind of the framework of these solo episodes. But I think first and foremost is ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? What do you want in the areas that are most important to you, And maybe that's the first question you should ask. What areas of my life are most important to me? For me, as you guys can probably guess, it's faith, family, fitness, finances, promoting what it means to be a strong American, right? Because a country is only going to be as strong as its citizens, right? So setting the example in the areas that are important. And I think that's first and foremost. And then really asking yourself, what do you want each one of those areas to look like? What do you want your faith component to look like? What do you want your family component to look like? What do you want your finances to look like? Whatever it is that's valuable to you, what do you want that area to look like? And then you're reverse engineering and saying, okay, what does a person that has this ideal lifestyle, what does their day-to-day look like? And that could come from asking people who have the lifestyle that you have or that you want, or there's AI out there. You can say, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. This is the lifestyle I want to live. This is where I'm currently at now. What should my average day look like? Where should I be investing my time, energy, effort, money, resources in order to build XYZ lifestyle? And having AI spit out a framework for you to follow. So I think that's the first step, is figuring out what do you want and the things that it's going to take to get there. Number 2 is then looking at your calendar and calendarizing everything that you're doing. I calendarize everything down to all my work meetings, my personal meetings. I don't calendarize my workouts just because I have those so locked in where I'm doing those every single day. A walk, a run, lifting weights, body weight exercise. That's something I do every single day. So I don't need to put it on my calendar because I know that's usually one of the first things I do in the morning. But I think the better you can get at calendarizing your life, again, your work meetings, your admin work, your emails, recording this podcast, for example, what time you're going to eat dinner, and just trying to live very rigidly in that calendar can help you tremendously. And I think also looking at your calendar and saying, hey, do the things that I'm doing, do they align with what I want to actually get out of life? For example, let's say that you want to make $1 million by the time you're 35 and you're listening to this and you're 28, 29 years old and you're like, okay, I want to make $1 million a year by 35 years old. And then you look at your calendar and you have a dinner with your friend on Monday. You have a kickball league on Tuesday. You have a movie night with your family on Wednesday. You have, Thursday happy hour on Thursday. And on Friday, you're going out to dinner, maybe with your husband or wife, and then their significant other. Saturday, you got on your calendar that you're doing, beach with some friends, and then a lunch with some friends, and then dinner at the house with your family. And then Sunday, you got church. That's cool. Faith component. And then you got, watch golf all day. Sure, you're going to have a lot of fun doing those things, but is that really going to yield to wanting to hit that goal of $1 million by 35? And in this example, what your calendar should look like is starting work early at 7:15, 7:30 a.m. Why? Because people who work harder get ahead. Maybe ending the day instead of 4:30, 5 o'clock, you're ending the day at 5:30, 6 p.m. Again, you're working harder than everybody else. And then, at night, it could be family, if that's an important priority to you. And then maybe you have another time block from 8 to 9 p.m. to work on your business or a side hustle, or if you're in a career like sales, for example, like I am, where you can really control your own income. The more work you put in, the more money you'll make. Maybe you're using 8 to 9 p.m. to work on building your book of business. And then Tuesday, same thing. And then Wednesday, same thing. Thursday, same thing. Friday, same thing. Saturday morning, fitness. Let's say that's a big priority for you. I firmly believe that the more mentally and physically fit you are, the more money you will make. That's from me talking about how I increase my income on a previous episode. And so maybe Saturday morning you have time blocked off from 7 to 9 p.m. to get a long run in and also lift some weights right after that run. And then you have family time blocked off. And, you can still obviously have social components. Like I went to a Charleston Battery soccer game on Wednesday night, but I didn't drink at the game because I don't like drinking on the weekdays. And I left a little early so I could get back by 9 o'clock and go to bed by 9:30 and still get up before 6, get a good workout in. So, and that's probably the only, on the weekday, that's probably the only social thing I'll do outside of hanging out with my family. I'm not going out on Thursday night. I'm not going out on Tuesday night because I know that I want to be extremely locked in and I have big goals for my life. And so it takes being very disciplined with your calendar. And I also think you just need to take the time to ask yourself, does my calendar actually align with where I want to be in life? And then the other tip I have is, audit your screen time. I think a lot of times you spend a lot of time on social media and Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I would count LinkedIn as a social media platform because it's easy to start scrolling on there. I know I spend a lot of time on my phone if I'm not really auditing it. And then next thing you know, I'm looking at my screen time on Instagram for the day. And I'm like, how did I spend an hour and a half on this? Well, 5 minutes here, 7 minutes here, 3 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 7, blah, 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 blah. Multiple times throughout the day, they add up. So audit your screen time. And then really the last two tips I have is give yourself some grace. I think time management is one of those things that you're always trying to perfect because life gets busy. You have priorities, you have things to do, you have things you want to do, you have people grabbing at your attention. But I think if you can just be intentional about it every single day of, am I actually spending time on the things I need to do? Does my calendar align with where I want to be in life? Do my actions, habits, behaviors, are those aligning with my long-term goals? Just constantly auditing that. And then the last thing I have is just an accountability partner, if that's something that helps you out. And that could be a simple, every Sunday you send a screenshot to your buddy of, hey, here's what my week looks like. Here's Monday through Friday. Here's Saturday, Sunday. Keep me accountable to this. Or what feedback do you have, right? Iron sharpens iron. What feedback do you have on how my calendar looks? Anything I need to add, take away? You can even have, if you have a mentor in your life, you can give them access to your calendar so that they can look at your calendar and maybe offer some suggestions, feedback, things that you should take away. So I feel as if the biggest theme of this is use your calendar. People think I'm crazy because I got the calendar color coded and I have so much personal stuff on the calendar. It's like, do you really need a calendar time block for, lunch or dinner? Yes, I do. Because if it doesn't get scheduled, it's not going to happen. So get in the habit of just living by your calendar. I have looked at many calendars in my day from highly successful people, and they're very diligent about their calendars. So that's probably the biggest tip if I had to sum it all up. But hope this was helpful. I'm still learning every single day. My life has gotten tremendously busier, on top of a career and a podcast I do on the side and all this, obviously managing the joys of having a newborn, but the complexity as well when it comes to just how busy it can be. And big shout out to my wife for all the tremendous work that she's done to help take care of him as well. She does a lot more than I do, so I don't know how she does it, but obviously I'm trying to help as much as I can as well, and it is a big time component. So hope that was helpful. Hope y'all take that, extract it, run with it, not throughout this week or next week, but really for the rest of your lives, because I've lived and died by the calendar for the last 7-8 years now, and thankfully it's helped me do very well in life at an early age. Of course, I still have a long way to go to get to where I want to be at my 40, 50, 60 year age-wise goals, but I am very thankful for what has transpired by today's time. So thank you all for listening. Thank you guys for being supporters of Next Level Minds. As mentioned, if this episode added any value to your life, you gained some new perspective, you thought a little bit differently, please share this episode. As mentioned, our goal is to impact over 1 million people. Can't do it alone. Would love some help. Could use some help. And thank you all for taking the time to tune in. Have a great week ahead.